Davis with Katzendrummers, and here to share some percussion with you today. And I hope that you enjoy what I have to share. I have several videos, and you'll see those. Some will be more where you can play along, and some I'm really just introducing instruments, and that's what I'm doing today. First, we play percussion. My colleague and I, Ahmed Solomon, we get percussion instruments, which really is anything that you can hit, scrape, or shake. And I have some examples here. So maybe you have some of these things at home you can try. If not, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So first off, I have a drum. This is obviously something that you hit to make sound. So I'm going to play with my hands. This is just a small hand drum. So that's obviously something that you play by hitting it or striking it. Some percussion instruments you use sticks, some just with hands. Some you can do both. You have to know though, if I try to play this instrument with a stick, it would break it because it has a animal skin head that's very thin. So you do need to know what you need to implement, you need to use to hit a certain drum or instrument. So that's one of the instruments that you can hit. I have some others. Some of the instruments I'm going to go over are African instruments that I actually purchased in Africa. This is a bell, and you can see it has two bells. Some people call it a double bell by the high sound and the low sound. And you make patterns with the two sounds to make music. Okay, so that's one way that you can play the double bell. Here is some people call it a boat bell. Get a little closer to you, you can see the shape of it. And you hold it right flat in your hand and strike the top. Similar, it's made of metal, and you play patterns, something that repeats. Okay, something that repeats over and over again. Lots of fun things. This is also a bell. It's called a frichiwa. I love the way you say that. You might want to try it. Say frichiwa. And this bell is worn because when you're dancing, you can keep a rhythm with this one. And this also plays patterns. All right. In the category of things that you hit, another metal sound. Now, some things that you can find are metal or wood, plastic even, but this one looks like the double bell, right? This is the African version. This is the Brazilian version of the same thing, okay? So this is a go-go bell is what it's called. It rings out a lot more. And I have an example of a wooden instrument that you hit. And this one is a slit drum. And you can see that there are two different things that have been cut out of this one. Okay. Also, I can change the sound if I change what I'm using to hit the instrument with, the implement. Okay, has a different quality of sound or timbre. All right, those are all instruments that I hit. Moving on, hit, what else did I say? Percussion is something that you hit. Scrape, that's my next category, scrape. Here are a couple of instruments that you can scrape. This is a guiro, this is a metal one. You hear this in merengue music. Closer look there. This is the wooden version. Some of you may have seen this before. Some people call it a fish, but it's basically the same instrument. It's a guiro, and you play similar, scraping. can also strike this one as well. So those are our instruments that we scrape. All right, so we've gone over the instruments that we hit, the instruments that we scrape. All right, I'm going to do a pause, and then I'll have another video where I'll talk about that other category. I wonder if you remember what it is. Shake, and then some homemade instruments, and then we'll play a little bit. The next category is shake. And picking up where I left off, I'm going to talk about some instruments and show you some instruments that are played by shaking. First of all, people might think of shakers, and this is a cylinder that is filled with beads of some kind, and basically you hold it level and you back and forth. Okay, and that's just called a shaker. Actually called a shaker. Lots of fun things in this category. So some of the instruments I'm showing you I actually bought in Africa, in Ghana, West Africa. And these are really cool. And you can see they are made of things that are available maybe around the house or something. So see if you can tell what that is here. All right. So a basket. And this has like a cork bottom, and I don't know if you noticed, but this has a metal bottom, and it says Nestle on it. So it's from a can of chocolate syrup. So showing that instruments really can be made out of things that you can find around or recycled. So here's how these are played. All right. Lots of fun things in this category. These are seed pods, okay? You may have seen this with different kind of animal hooves as well. That's a part of this instrument, or a version of that instrument, rather. Egg shakers are fun, and this might be something that you can make at home. Just looks like a regular plastic egg. This is a commercially bought one, but has a nice sound there, something that you shake to play it. Now, many people know the next instrument, and it kind of crosses lots of categories. So maybe you shouted it out when you saw it. Tambourine, of course, and this one we can shake, of course, to play. We've heard that before. Right? It has these jingle things on the side that allow you to do that, but this one also has a drum head on it. So I wonder what other ways we could play it. So we know we can shake it. Can we scrape it? Yeah. Sure. Can we strike it? Certainly, this instrument can be played all three of the ways that we play percussion. All right? So a very versatile, we say a versatile instrument for sure. All right. So I've gone over things that we hit, and instruments that we scrape, and instruments that we shake. And I have just a couple of examples of some homemade instruments to get you ready for some grooves that are coming up. So here are a few ideas. This is simply a water bottle, right? It's been decorated. We just found some beads around the house and made our own shaker with it. So, like the long cylinder shaker that I showed you earlier. All right? So this might be fun. Might be something that you can come up with. Lots of things, even sticks or things that you can find outside, you can make into a shaker. Right? This one is just a container that had maybe Cool Whip or something in it, but filled it with all kinds of goodies. I'm not even remember what's in here, but sure like the sound of it. And of course, decorating it is even, you can have a lot of fun with decorating these instruments, right? This one could also be used to strike. If I'm just using the tips of my fingers to do that. I'm not really going to get a whole lot of sound if I use my whole hand, but if I just use the tips of my fingers, it's something that I could at least use to make some music with. You may remember this from the last video, this instrument, the slit drum that we said that has 2 pitches. I found a version that you could do with just a water bottle around here. I found it around the house, and if you try it without, let me try to change my implement. That will help. That's not a great sound, but if I take the cap off, and that might change where I hit it as well. So experiment, that's the idea. Experiment with what you've got. And lastly, another thing that you can find, if you don't have a drum sitting around, this is a flower pot. It's a rather large one, but it can be used for a drum for sure. Right? So, again, look for things around the house that maybe you could have to make instruments out of. Have someone help you, have a friend, have a parent. And I've got some groove videos coming up, and maybe you can join me with your homemade instruments. And if you've got real instruments that you've bought somewhere or made, even better too. All right, I'll see you in a few. I've gone over the different types of the ways to play percussion. And if you watch them, you know what they are. There's 3 of them. They are hit, you got it, and scrape, you got it, and shake, you got it. I've gone over some instruments that use those ways of playing. I've also talked about how you make your own instruments, right? So now it's time to use those instruments, and I've got a couple of songs that I'm going to do in this video right here that I'm hoping that you will join me. And really, anything goes. You can play along with the groove, and that's the way that you feel the rhythm of the music. You can kind of go along and make your own groove. Really, it's okay, you know? It's just going to be all right. However you want to do it and express yourself. But this first song, I'm going to use my djembe drum, okay? The djembe drum is an animal skin drum. I just use my hands to play this one. I'm not going to use sticks. So I talked about that in another video as well. Just you have to know what your instrument is made of so you know how to play it. Now, this song is a traditional song, and it's called Kokoleoko, which is the sound that the rooster makes when it cries, Kokoleoko. Some people say Kokorioko, some people say Cock-a-doodle-doo. This is Kokoleoko. And this is in a 4-beat, or if we want to use music lingo, it's a duple. Okay, so it's a duple rhythm. And it's gonna, the drum beat is gonna sound like this. Okay, and you can count, actually you can count 4-beat over top of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm challenging you to do is with your instruments at home or wherever you happen to be right now, you need to try to come up with maybe a way that you can play along with those 4 beats. You could play right along the beat if you'd like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm kind of changing the rhythm I'm choosing to play. If I want to get a little more creative, I could try to find, I could leave out beats and then play some of the other beats. So, a shaker, here's another shaker. So maybe I want to leave out the first 2 beats and only play the end of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And on and on. Just, it's a pattern, it continues. If you want to experiment, that's fine too. That's the liberty of doing this virtual, right? Here we go. I'm going to play, and I have a tambourine I'm using to keep a beat as well with my foot. So you may hear that. And the words are Kokoleo ko, Mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. If you want to learn the song and sing that, that's okay too. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now try your rhythm. Any rhythm you want at home. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Kokoleo ko, mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. Kokoleo ko, mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. Abi, Sarah, Abi, chicken crowing for day. Abi, Sarah, Abi, chicken crowing for day. Hey, Kokoleo ko, mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. Kokoleo ko, mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. I hope you're playing along and singing along. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to drop out. Listen to you. Now you keep going. Here you go and run. You go. Again. One more time. Oh, Kokoleo ko, mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. Kokoleo ko, mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. Kokoleo ko, mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. Kokoleo ko, mama Kokoleo ko, Kokoleo ko, chicken crowing for day. Keep playing now. Woo! Hey, hey! All right, big finish here. Here we go and shake a roll. Shake a roll. And big ending. Thank you so much for joining me on Kokoleo Ko. I'm going to do another video with a cool groove, and hopefully you'll play it and sing along. Thanks so much for watching. Just to go over a couple things, percussion, that's what we're playing with. And hit, scrape, or shake. And maybe you've made your own instrument, or you have one at home that you're playing along with me. Don't forget that percussion is drums, but it's other things as well, not just drums. You need different sounds to make it interesting. Like I'll be playing a tambourine with my foot, which I don't recommend unless you're a trained percussionist. You don't want to hurt the instrument, but this is one sound. It has a metal sound to it, right? I talked about in some of my other videos about wooden sounds and having, you know, this isn't, obviously it's not a drum. It's instrument that you scrape, or you can strike it as well. Okay? And metal sounds. This a go-go bell. And we also talked about shakers. Or one you made at home. Okay? So all of these sounds are important. Even if you don't have a drum, we like to have different sounds in our percussion piece to make it sound interesting. Just something to keep in mind as you're joining me. So, all right. I did a song before called Kokoleo Ko, which is a traditional song. This next one I want to do is called Mary Ann, and it's also a traditional song. And it's going to be a little quicker in tempo. The tempo is going to be faster, the speed of the music. It's also in a duple feel, so you can count to 4 when you hear it. So a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can choose to play all those beats if you'd like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Depending on how you're feeling, if you want to add little notes in between. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm embellishing embellishing that rhythm a little bit, making it more interesting. If you want to try to leave out some of the beats and play only on others, that's cool too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? I left some silence in there. So as you play along with me, get creative and maybe try some different things until you find something you really like. The main thing is we're playing patterns, things that repeat over and over again. Okay, so this is Mary Ann. It's about all the children, everybody coming and join the band. And all day, all night, Miss Mary Ann. Down by the seashore, sifting sand. All the little children come join the band. All day, all night, Miss Mary Ann. Those are basically the words. There's a few variations. Join me singing if you like. Here we go. A little quicker than the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. and maybe you can play and sing along with me there. Thanks for joining me, Katzendrummers. There's one other category that I didn't talk about in the other videos, and that's body percussion. We all have percussion instruments with us all the time. And sometimes people think of 4 levels of body percussion, and that would be stomping, right? Using your feet, stomp. Using your legs to pat, pat. Okay? Clapping, of course. And snapping. Now, that one can be tricky. If you don't know how to snap, it's okay, you know? But sometimes we can combine these things to make an interesting little percussion piece. Okay? So, if you have no instruments, you don't need them. Okay? You can join me with just some body percussion at home. All right? So, going to do another song. This is going to wrap up my songs that I've done. I've done a couple different ones, and this one also I like songs from the West Indies, and this is a song called "The Colon Man," and it's actually there's a town called Colon, Jamaica, and the history behind this is that these guys that were from this village or this town in Jamaica were going off to work at the Panama Canal when that was being built. And they were going there and they were making a lot of money. And then they'd come home and they were kind of showing off this money that they had. They had nice zoot suits. They had gold chains. And you can hear that in the song. And this song is really kind of making fun of those guys and how they'd strut around with their gold chains and their zoot suits and all that. So the cool thing about this one is there's a count part to it. So it goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, Colon Man now come. 1, 2, 3, 4, Colon Man now come. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, Colon Man now come. With his brass chain, lick 'em belly, bum, bum, bum. All right, that ending is really cool. Bum, bum, bum. And when you're playing along, you can hit those hits. Also, with his brass chain, lick 'em belly. That means his brass chain is bouncing up and down, lick on his belly, lick 'em belly, bum, bum, bum. And that's what that means, okay? So try to emphasize that when you hear that in the song, when we're playing, and you're playing along with me, and you can hit those threes, like brass chain, lick 'em belly, bum, bum, bum. Okay, you can hit those 3 beats. And we might even end it like that. All right, so this one is called "The Colon Man." Again, find a rhythm. It's a duple. All the songs we've been doing, you can count to 4 and play along. There are other songs out there, of course, that you can play to. You can count to 3 and 6 and all kinds of things. But we've just kept those 4 beats, and you can play around with that. Play right on the beat if you want to, or leave out some beats. Leave some silences in. Really express yourself however you'd like as you're playing along. And sing if you'd care to. So this one has a little bounce to it. All right? Kind of has a reggae vibe to it. Here's my drum part. I'll play it for a second so you can hear the groove. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can play your shakers to that beat. You can play your metal instruments to that beat, right? You can play anything that you can come up with, your body percussion to that beat, and however it fits into the groove. All right, here we go, Colon Man, everybody. Come, yeah. Everybody say no. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man has come. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man has come. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man has come. With fries, chili, come belly, bum, bum, bum. Keep playing now. 1, 2, 3. Sounds great. Keep on going. All right, I'm going to drop out. Your turn. Keep playing now. Let me hear you. Sounds good, you know. I like it now. You got it. Keep going now. Feel the groove. Keep going now. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man now come. Nice job. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man now come. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man now come. With fast chili, come belly, bum, bum, bum. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man now come. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man now come. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cooling man now come. With fries, chili, come belly, bum, bum, bum. Hit it again. Bum, bum, bum. 3 again now. Bum, bum, bum. Last time. Bum, bum, bum. And roll and shake. We always have to have a big ending with the Katzendrummers at FestivALL. Again, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed singing along and playing along. And check out the other videos if you missed something. And again, everybody stay safe out there and see you later. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Tony Martirano, but I go by Tony M Music these days as I perform music all throughout the state of West Virginia. Years ago, when I started my career, I was a teacher, elementary school teacher, and students had trouble saying Martirano, so they shortened it up and they called me Mr. M. And then when I decided to make that transition from teacher into a full-time performer, I knew I needed a stage name. So I took my name, my first name Tony, shortened my last name to M, like the students were doing, and then I added music at the end because it was generic and easy to remember. So I go by Tony M Music now whenever I travel and perform. You can just call me Tony. I am very honored and just so happy and proud to be a part of FestivALL again this year. This is my third year being a part of this wonderful, fantastic just arts movement throughout the entire city of Charleston. And this year is so unique for many reasons, but one of those reasons is that being able to go virtual opens up just an amazing pathway for so many other more people around the globe to experience FestivALL, which I love, and I commend them so much for taking this leap, this creative leap to just change up their entire model and go virtual, but still be able to share the amazing art of our wonderful state with everybody throughout the world. So thank you, FestivALL. Today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be singing some of the songs. These are songs that I wrote, and they also have a connection with West Virginia. I was born and raised here in West Virginia my entire life, 41 years. So I grew up in these hills, but it wasn't until, actually let me show you. Well, here's my West Virginia logo here. So I'm here in the Eastern Panhandle, Martinsburg, that's where I'm from. It wasn't until though about 3 years ago when I actually did get to travel throughout the state for the first time in my life. I was a little late getting around the state, but once I did, oh man, what an amazing, beautiful state. Not just the scenery or our nature in the state, but the people of West Virginia. Oh my gosh, I loved traveling and making so many friendships throughout the state. It's just the state pride that you feel no matter where you are. It's just amazing. It makes you just to be so much more proud to be a West Virginian. And I'm going to share one of those songs with you today that I wrote that was inspired by those travels. So let's get started. I'm going to bring out my little ukulele here. It's got a little butterfly on it, which is appropriate for this song that we're going to sing. It's called Beautiful Butterfly. Now, West Virginia has a state butterfly. Does anybody know what it is? I'm assuming you're telling me right now. Yes, that's right, it's the monarch butterfly. Butterflies, I love them. They are my favorite insect. They fly like this. They flutter about all over the place. They look like they have no clue where they're going, do they? No, they don't. But they don't look like they do, but they do. They just don't have that direct flight path, but they know where they're going. They just take a different way to get there, and that's what I love about them. So here's a little tune I wrote called Beautiful Butterfly. Oh, and speaking of the monarch butterfly, it was adopted as West Virginia's state butterfly in 1995, and in 2002, September 12th became Monarch Butterfly Day right here in West Virginia. Beautiful butterfly, a miracle in the sky. You're once confined to the ground, now gravity cannot hold you down. Beautiful butterfly, you build a home to sleep inside. You're wide awake from your deep sleep. Now it's time for you to spread your wings and fly. Beautiful butterfly, 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 spread your wings and fly. Spread your wings and fly. The monarch butterfly, our state butterfly. All right, I gotta grab my guitar now. This guitar has a name. It's got a name, yes. I cannot take credit for naming it. One of the little girls in my daughter's pre-K class 4 years ago now named it after her favorite country song, Jolene, and the name stuck. And because of that, we had to put googly eyes on it, because I had never named a guitar before, and this was the first time. So Jolene, my famous guitar that gets to travel with me all over the place. All right, West Virginia is also known for its apples, believe it or not. The Golden Delicious apples from Clay County, West Virginia. And it was first discovered in 1912. And in 1995, it officially became our state fruit. So I brought some Golden Delicious apples. We have a couple apple orchards here in Berkeley County. And one that we visit frequently is Orr's Farm Market, and that's where these Golden Delicious apples came from. So, put those there. Golden Delicious, one of my favorite apples. I have two favorite apples, Golden Delicious and Ambrosia apples, because I really love the honey taste, but Golden Delicious. They were an apple that I grew up with, and I never knew that that was a West Virginia apple until just a few years ago. So. You're never too old to learn something new, all right? I hope you learned something new from that today as well. So this is a little tune called The Apple Tree. I wrote this thinking about, I love climbing trees, and my daughters were climbing trees last year. And just kind of this little tune, as I was running one day and I had this little tune, I was thinking about that, and this little tune came into my head about climbing apple trees, and it took a different turn into not just about apple trees, but about friendship. The apple tree will sit all day about the apple tree. The apple tree, oh the apple tree, come sit with me in the apple tree. Well, I see you in the apple tree, you're waving at my friend and me. We climbed up and now we see what's so cool about the apple tree. The sit all day in the apple tree. Apple tree, the apple tree. Come sit with me in the apple tree. We told stories, the three of us. We told jokes and picked apples for lunch. We sat in the branches, 1, 2, 3. We felt so high up in the apple tree. Apple tree, the apple tree. Sit all day up in the apple tree. The apple tree, oh the apple tree. Come sit with me in the apple tree. Sat all day till the sun went low. We climbed back down to make our way back home. Before we left, we all agreed we'd meet tomorrow by the apple tree. The apple tree, the apple tree. Come sit with me in the apple tree. The apple tree, the apple tree. Let's sit together in the apple tree. We'll sit all day in the apple tree. Come sit with me in the apple tree. The apple tree. What a fun tree to climb. If they're very old, if they're an older, mature tree, the branches are strong. But the cool thing about them for kids is that they're lower. The branches are always lower to the ground, and it's a little bit more safe to climb. It's a good beginner climbing tree. That's what I like to say. And if you get stuck in it for a while, you got lunch, you got dinner, you got breakfast there, you got food you can eat. So, all right, until help can come along to get you out of the tree. All right, when I got to share a story. So that was a little bit of West Virginia history with those songs. But this next tune was written about my best friend and I growing up. And we grew up here in the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. And we grew up playing out in the woods. That is one of my most fondest memories of building clubhouses, running through the fields, running through the woods near our house. I absolutely loved being outdoors, and we had so many great adventures doing that. Another memory that I had growing up is that my best friend, his mother and father, they had a friend that had a lot down on, it's called Back Creek. He had a river lot in Back Creek, and he would fish there constantly. Well, one day, he took us fishing, and how amazing it was. That was my first experience out fishing in a river. Some days we would go weekends. I remember Saturday mornings we would go out and get up early, go fishing. We'd come home with some smallmouth bass. One time we did catch a catfish though. That was kind of cool. But it was just a cool experience to be out on the water. Some days we would wade. Some days we'd take a small boat out. But those memories of just being in the water in West Virginia and out fishing, doing something we love, experiencing nature, was just something that it stuck with me my whole life. And I love to take those experiences and now pass them on to my children. So I was nurtured by the hills here and the nature of West Virginia. So I love it. And this next song was inspired by many of those adventures my best friend and I had growing up. So this is called Perfect for You, Perfect for Me. Well, you're kind of short, I'm kind of tall. You like the summer, I like the fall. Well, you're great at sports and I'm an excellent fan. But I'm more spontaneous and you like to plan. You like TV, I'd rather read a book. You like Peter Pan, but I like Captain Hook. I'm always late and you're always on time, but that's just fine. Oh, because we're best friends and no matter what our differences may be, we're best friends, and if you ever have to ask me why, this is what I'll say. Well, I'm perfect for you, you're perfect for me. I'm perfect for you, you're perfect for me. I'm perfect for you, you're perfect for me. Well, I'm perfect for you, draw and hang our pictures on the walls. And we can talk for hours about nothing in particular at all. We both enjoy the same foods to eat. We both like to run around in our bare feet. The same silly jokes always make us laugh. If there's only one cookie, we'll always share half. 'Cause our favorite time is the time we spend together. 'Cause we can take a good day and make it even better. 'Cause we're best friends, and best friends we can always be. 'Cause we're best friends, and if you ever have to ask me why, this is what I'll say. I'm perfect for you, you're perfect for me. I'm perfect for you, you're perfect for me. I'm perfect for you, you're perfect for me. I'm perfect for you, and you're perfect for me. Perfect for you, perfect for me. But I'm perfect for you, and you're perfect for me. Oh, a little tune for all the best friends out there. Oh man, I love that song. It always gives me good memories whenever I sing this. All right, I had something to share with you. When I got to travel last year, actually, when I came down to FestivALL in Charleston, my daughter got to travel with me, which was so awesome. She got to see, actually it was perfect. She got to see a lot of the southern part of the state, which helped her out this year because she was in 8th grade this year, and they have the Golden Horseshoe. So a lot of these areas that they talked about in West Virginia history in 8th grade, she got to see firsthand. So it was just an amazing experience for both of us. While we were in Charleston, we stopped into this really very neat bookstore, Taylor's Books. Oh, right on, I believe that might have been Main Street. But the bookstore, oh my gosh, it was so cool. So we were walking around just checking out the little cafe area, then we checked out the book area, and then around this bookstore goes on, it just seems like it just goes on forever. So around another room, in the third room, we get to some art installations in there, and then we see these thumb pianos, the kalimbas, all over the place. So many of them on display, and they're all different. Not one of them are the same. They're absolutely beautiful. So we pick them up and we're playing them, and I look at the tag and it says Goshen Art School, and it was made right here in West Virginia, in Morgantown, West Virginia. So naturally, I had to buy it. Of course I had to. It was made in West Virginia. I love handmade crafts and instruments, but I love West Virginia handmade instruments even better. So I played a few of them, and I kept coming back to this particular one. It was made out of a gourd, but I loved it. The shape of it kind of reminded me of a heart, but I also loved that I could hold it in my hands. So I felt like I was holding a heart in my hands. And it just felt so comfortable. And the sound of it, there was just something about it. So when you're picking out an instrument, yes, sometimes instruments do speak to you. And they tell you, yep, this is, I'm compatible to your thumbs or your strumming. I think we were meant to be together. And that was what I kind of got when I played this one. It was just a tune, whatever it was, that triggered my brain. It was the tone of it, the feel of it. I absolutely love this. So look at this beautiful, beautiful handcrafted kalimba made from right here in West Virginia. So I don't know how to play a song on it yet, but that's the beauty of a kalimba. The way they're tuned, you don't hit a wrong note. You can play them and talk. They give it that nice soothing sound. And while I was traveling last year to schools, to preschools and libraries, this kalimba accompanied me. And a lot of kids got to play it. And you can see how calming it is just by playing it, just to hear that sound. And I told some friends of mine that were preschool and first grade teachers that this is an excellent classroom instrument to have, and they bought them to put them in their classroom. doing a thumb roll. Get it? Drum roll? Thumb roll? Okay. I just made that one up. I don't know. I don't want to stop playing it. Check them out. You can actually go online too to look these up. So beautiful kalimba. I love this one. This one hangs in our house out in the open. So we always get a chance to play it. Opportunity to. So it's there. We see it, and just invites us to play it whenever. One of those just amazing things you get to see when you travel around the state. My first experience traveling around the state, one of those travels took me to Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And you know what I did there? I got to visit the only Mothman museum in the entire world. So I visited the Mothman Museum, and I obviously had to buy some Mothman merchandise. So I got my pins. I got some guitar picks. This is not one. I don't think I have it with me, but I got some Mothman guitar picks. They're really cool. Some of them I've used to play. Some of them I don't use because I like to keep that Mothman logo on them. And what else did we? Oh, we got some Mothman postcards. They were pretty cool. But several years ago, well, I've been playing for our libraries here in West Virginia, in Martinsburg, in Berkeley County for years when I started playing music, and I started thinking about doing it live. Berkeley County Libraries, Martinsburg Berkeley County Libraries, they gave me that first opportunity to perform live. So I am forever grateful for our library system. I grew up at this library in Martinsburg. My mom would take me when I was really young. Before I was in school, I remember going there and playing with puppets. There was always a puppet theater there. And I remember playing with the puppets when I was a kid and getting books. And we lived close enough that we could walk. And that was just, those memories of being able to walk to the public library in town, it's something that's always stuck with me again. And I loved that growing up in that setting. So again, it's another one of those things that I am fortunate that I get to take my children now to the library and have them experience that too. Our oldest has grown up. I mean, she's going in 9th grade, but she's grown up using that library. When she started out as a little girl to play in, and then she would check out her own books, and then she got her first library card. All 3 of them have their own library card now. Just how proud they were to have their own library card. It's something I'll never forget. But I want to just thank that library, Martinsburg Library, for giving my first public performance right there in the library. One of the very first public performances was during Valentine's Day. And I remember the librarian, her name is Erin, at the time, she said, "Do you have any Valentine's Day songs?" And I was like, I don't have any. And I remember that morning, right before my performance, I was thinking, I don't have a Valentine's Day. I need something about love. So I was getting ready, and this little tune popped in my head. And it was because of that library performance that I wrote this song. So it's really a love song. It's not necessarily a Valentine's Day song. It's called L-O-V-E, appropriately. The appropriate is not part of the title. L-O-V-E, that spells love. L-O-V-E, that spells love. It's on the ground below and in the stars above. L-O-V-E, that spells love. Well, how do you show someone love? A smile or a kiss or a great big hug. You can show it in the simple little things that you do. How do you show someone love? L-O-V-E, that spells love. L-O-V-E, that spells love. Oh, it's on the ground below and in the stars above. Tell your mother, your father, or your grandparents too. Your aunts or your uncles, your cousins or your friends, and even your foes. Who are the people that you love? L-O-V-E, that spells love. L-O-V-E, that spells love. Oh, it's on the ground below and in the stars above. L-O-V-E, that spells love. L-O-V-E, that spells love. One more time. L-O-V-E, that spells love. Ooh, now you know how to spell love. All right, we are coming down to our final song. One of my favorites to perform live when I travel through West Virginia. I love singing this song because it was inspired by the travels I had through West Virginia and continue to do through West Virginia. I just continually get inspired by meeting new people throughout the state and just hearing the stories. Visiting all these beautiful areas, these small towns throughout the state. I love it. Making just these connections, these lifelong connections. So I was so grateful for the opportunity 3 years ago through the West Virginia Library Association to travel to Morgantown. No, I'm sorry. Where did we travel that year? Oh my goodness. I can't remember. Oh, I know. Summer County. I had to think about that. For their Spring Fling convention, and I got to present, and I had no clue what was going to happen when I went down there. I just thought I was going to present my songs and share some things that I do in the schools and the libraries, and that would be that. That's not the case. I went down there and I presented what I do and how I incorporate music and literature together, and how I incorporate it into the classroom setting, and when I visit libraries, how I incorporated all this into music and literature together. And what came out of it though, after my presentation, I had librarians coming up and asking me to visit their library, and yes, I would love to. And that was just the most, I look at my career in music and that moment, just what a transition it was for me, to make all these connections and to be able to then truly just kind of establish some more roots here in West Virginia as a musician, as a lifelong resident, as a love for this state. It was, man, it was just so amazing. I'll never forget that moment. And in the last summer, we got to travel even more throughout the state, and then I've got to travel to so many different schools throughout the state now and share these songs that I've written and experiences that I've had. So I'm, where I can't visit you personally this summer, it's still wonderful that we can still connect virtually. But the libraries, I appreciate so much for everything that they have done to help me to help me get just share these wonderful tunes that I've written throughout the state. So I do have to give them a big thank you, and FestivALL, I have to give you a huge thank you as well, because it was during that time that my first visit to Charleston was because of FestivALL. Man, what a beautiful, beautiful city. Oh gosh, it was just amazing to be there, and what an awesome vibe during FestivALL time too. So thank you all for this. This next song, West Virginia My Home, I'm wearing the t-shirt with the logo on it. Designed by another West Virginia native, Beth Lehman. She designed this. And her and I, actually, I'm going to share our location where we are. We are at Studio 123 in downtown Martinsburg, West Virginia. I'm filming today. This is our physical art studio. Now, she and I, Beth and I, co-founded the Tony M Music and Arts Foundation. So it was our opportunity to give back to the arts. We have been nurtured so much in Martinsburg by the arts, through education, through the library, from our community. At our point in our life, we knew it was time for us to give back then and to nurture the next and upcoming generation, and that was what we did. We founded the Tony M Music and Arts Foundation. Right now we're in Berkeley County, but we're looking forward to expand throughout the state in the years to come. So this next song, as I'm wearing the t-shirt for it, West Virginia, My Home, was just a little homage to our wonderful state and the inspiration I drew from it as I got to travel several years ago. So thank you all very much for allowing me to tell you some stories, share some stories, and a little bit of West Virginia history as well, and to get to sing some songs with you today. I hope you all have a wonderful summer, and wherever you are, I hope you're creating some beautiful art. And when you get the opportunity to travel around our state, do it. East and west and every little town in between. Shape of your hand with your thumb sticking out and your finger pointed to the sky. West Virginia, wild and wonderful. My heart belongs in your hills. No matter how far I roam, places that I go, West Virginia, my home. Rolling mountains, deep valleys, and wild rivers run through her veins. The place you learn to hunt, fish or swim, and fall in love with the beauty of her soul. West Virginia, wild and wonderful. My heart belongs in your hills. No matter how far I roam, places that I go, West Virginia, my home. West Virginia, my home. West Virginia, wild and wonderful. My heart belongs in your hills. No matter how far I roam, places that I go, West Virginia, my home. West Virginia, my home. West Virginia, my home. Oh, West Virginia, my home. FestivALL, thank you so much for this opportunity and just this wonderful experience to share the arts through our wonderful, wonderful state. Not just now in Charleston, but you can share it throughout the entire world because of this. So thank you all for what you're doing. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all for allowing me again to share these stories and share these songs with you. So have a wonderful day. Peace, love, and harmony to you. Until we can meet in person, I will see you online. See you guys. Have a great day.
Hi everybody, my name is Kingston, and I'm a 4-year-old drummer.